On June 3, 1962, a section of the Karsen River in Eastern Europe was temporarily drained. It was supposed to be routine, a hydro-engineering project, a structural inspection, nothing unusual. But as the water receded, something began to emerge. Not debris, not rock formations, structures. Perfectly aligned stone structures, streets, walls, doorways, a city. But there was something wrong. The architecture did not match any known civilization in the region. No historical records mentioned it. No maps marked it. And yet, it stretched for miles beneath the riverbed. The workers were ordered to stop immediately. Within hours, the site was sealed. Within days, the project was erased from public record. But one photograph survived, blurry, damaged, taken just before the evacuation. It showed a street, empty, silent, and at the far end, something standing in the doorway, something that should not have been there. The Karsen River flows quietly along the borderlands between Romania and Serbia, a region layered with forgotten histories, abandoned settlements, and unrecorded ruins. But until 1962, no one had ever reported anything beneath the river itself. The draining operation was initiated under Project Delta 7, a classified hydro-engineering initiative approved by regional authorities. Officially, its purpose was simple: inspect structural integrity of riverbanks, assess erosion risks, prepare for dam expansion. But internal documents, those that survived, suggest something else. The project was expedited, unusually so. Permits were approved within days, equipment was deployed overnight, and a restricted military perimeter was established before excavation even began. The lead engineer was Mihai Dragic, a veteran hydrologist known for his meticulous work. He was joined by Elena Petrov, structural analyst, Dr. Victor Hallberg, historian specializing in ancient European settlements, and a small unit of military personnel assigned under undisclosed orders. From the beginning, there were signs that something was off. Hallberg reportedly questioned why a historian was needed for a structural inspection. Petrov noted inconsistencies in the river depth data, and Dr. Dragic began documenting irregularities in sediment composition. It didn't match natural deposition. It was layered, deliberately, as if something had been buried. On June 3, 1962, the river was partially drained. What emerged first were edges, sharp lines beneath the mud, then corners, then entire structures. Buildings, stone structures arranged in a grid pattern, far too organized to be natural. Initially, workers believed it to be a lost settlement, perhaps ancient, perhaps undocumented. But as excavation continued, the unease began. The stones showed no signs of erosion, no cracks, no decay, as if they had not been underwater for long. But that was impossible. The river had flowed there for centuries. Inside the structures, things became stranger. Rooms were intact. Furniture, if it could be called that, remained in place. Objects lined the walls, but nothing resembled human design. Angles were wrong, proportions slightly distorted, doorways too narrow, then suddenly too tall, and then the silence. Workers reported that sound behaved differently inside the structures. Voices echoed, but not consistently. Footsteps seemed delayed, as if the space itself was not stable. Then came the discovery that changed everything. A central structure, larger than the others. At its entrance, symbols carved into the stone. Not a known language, not even close. Dr. Hallberg attempted to document them, but his notes, later recovered, made little sense. He wrote, "This is not a language, it is a pattern, a structure of thought." That same night, something happened. According to fragmented reports, the incident occurred at approximately 2:11 a.m. Security logs show sudden movement near the central structure, then complete blackout. When power was restored, several workers were missing. No signs of struggle, no evidence of collapse. They were simply gone. Dragic ordered an immediate halt, but military personnel overruled him. They wanted to continue, because something had been found inside the central structure. A chamber, perfectly circular, walls covered with the same symbols, and in the center, a depression, as if something had once been placed there, or removed. Elena Petrov-Lavla testified before her statement was sealed that the air inside the chamber felt wrong, heavy, not physically, but mentally. She described it as standing inside a thought that isn't yours. Recovered audio logs reveal fragments of conversations, disjointed, confused, voices speaking over each other, repeating phrases. One recording ends with a man whispering, "It knows we're here." Following the incident, all personnel were evacuated. The site was flooded again. But before that, something else was documented, something that was never meant to be seen. The city beneath the Karsen River was not buried. It was hidden, intentionally, not from time, but from perception. Classified documents, leaked decades later, suggest Project Delta 7 was not an inspection. It was a recovery mission, because fragments of the same symbols had been found elsewhere, in caves, in abandoned bunkers, in classified research sites, always incomplete, until now. The city was the source, and the chamber was not empty. It had been activated, not by machines, not by tools, but by observation. The moment it was uncovered, it began to respond. The missing workers were never found, but something else was recorded. Figures, standing within the structures, not moving, not reacting, watching. And in every photograph, their positions changed slightly, as if they were learning. The Karsen River was restored within weeks. Officially, nothing was found. Project Delta 7 was erased, every document sealed, every witness silenced. But satellite scans taken decades later show something unusual. A shift beneath the riverbed. Not erosion, not collapse, movement, slow, deliberate, as if the city is not buried anymore, but rising, waiting for the river to disappear again.